The last time we tested the Volvo XC90 was about a year and a half back in 2024 winter. Coincidentally, it's also been about a year and a half model years worth of XC90s. Welcome back to PR and Test Drive. This is the 2025.5 Volvo XC90 T8 plug-in hybrid. Let's check it out. First of all, what has changed compared to the previous model year? Well, not a whole lot. Mainly the changes are on the exterior and the front end. You get new set of LED headlights, new grille, new bumper design, as well as new rim design. You also get a slightly different taillight design, but that's about it. The overall silhouette is still the same, like all the other XC90s you've seen over the past decade or so. The good thing is, I think the XC90 still looks great. It's very much aging like fine wine in terms of the looks department. Trim configurations also remain very similar on this new XC90. You get to choose between two powertrains, a T6 mild hybrid variant and a T8 plug-in hybrid variant. Respectively, they both have three main trims: Core, Plus, and Ultra. The T6 variant starts at about 80,000 Canadian dollars and the T8 plug-in variant starts at about 92. This one is pretty much fully loaded Ultra trim, will set you back about 108,000 Canadian dollars before taxes and after deliveries. Under the hood, we've got a carryover powertrain. As mentioned, this is the plug-in hybrid model, so we've got an internal combustion engine powering the front wheels and an electric motor powering the rear wheels. This engine is a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine that puts out 312 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to an Aisin 8-speed automatic transmission and again, only powers the front wheels. In the back, there's an electric motor that's rated for 143 horsepower and 228 pound-feet of torque that powers only the rear wheels. There's no physical connection between the front and the rear, but when working together, it can produce up to 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. Over to the side, as part of the facelift, you get these new 21-inch diamond cut rims that are paired to 275 wide tires all around. Air suspension is an option on the Ultra trim, which is equipped on this unit. Basically, it will raise and lower itself automatically, so lowered when parked and raise in off-road mode, things like that. As for the battery pack, because this is a plug-in hybrid, the battery pack is actually mounted in the transmission tunnel, so not in your typical location like underneath the trunk. The battery capacity is 18.8 kilowatt hour with 14.7 that's usable. Charging from 0 to 100% takes about 5 hours because this Volvo can only charge at 3.6 kilowatts. The back end of the XC90, although is essentially identical, I think it still looks pretty good. To open the trunk, you can either use the kick sensor or this button over here. Power liftgate is of course included. Inside, there's a good amount of trunk space. With the third row seats folded down, you get 977 liters of space. With the third row seats folded up, you still get 298 liters of space. There are two buttons over here on the side to control the suspension. The rear suspension to raise or lower it for ease of access, which is of course nice to have. However, I've noticed that there are a few ergonomically questionable design choices that were made back here in the trunk area. Some are accessory related, some aren't. Either way, let me show you. Okay, say you want to unfold the third row seats. Can't be that difficult, right? So step one, you unlatch the privacy cover. Oh wait, this is caught on the seat belt on both sides, so you have to readjust that to unhook it, and then you can remove the privacy cover entirely. There's a little latch there. You can pull this out, but there's no dedicated storage spot within the car for the privacy cover, so you end up just leaving it here, sort of dangling, taking up your trunk space. Alternatively, you can leave it in the garage, but you lose some flexibility there. So step three, you pull up the seats. Easy enough, but no, there's no straps here, nor are there buttons. Maybe it's underneath this extra carpet, but nope. So you go over to the side, pull the second row seats up and out of the way, and then push the third row seats up along with the headrest. Then repeat the same thing on the other side. Push the seat up and then third row seats are up. But wait, this extra carpet mat is too big in terms of surface area to fold flat or to lay flat when the third row seat is up. So there's essentially no elegant way to keep this in the trunk and close it when you have the third row seats up. I don't know. Honestly, this whole area could have been designed better. Maybe we can have Velcros on this carpet mat that's stuck onto the seats. Maybe we could have a dedicated storage spot for the privacy cover. And as for the seats, at this price point, they should be electric, not to mention not having straps at all. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this whole experience. Alright, now that it's mission accomplished on Operation Third Row Seats, let's jump in. Getting inside, it's actually pretty easy. The second row seats lifts up and pushes forward, so it's not all that bad at all. But when pulling the seats, when pulling the seats back down, as you saw just now, it springs back quite aggressively, and frankly, it's a little scary, and I'm not sure if it's all that safe. This mechanism has been in place in the 2024 that we've tested. I'm sure it's in the earlier ones as well, and it's still here on the 2025.5. I just think Volvo needs to redesign this because I don't like it. Space-wise, for an adult, it's a little tight. As you can see, I don't really have any legroom, nor do I have any headroom. But if you slide the second row seats forwards a little bit, should be good for short trips. On the other hand, if you have kids, this is perfect. There's cubbies, cup holders, air vents, as well as big windows here. So overall, it will make a great kids mobile. Jumping into the second row, obviously as expected, there's a lot more space here. This ultra trim XC90 is spec'd with the beige Nappa leather interior, which I must say the material use is excellent. Everything feels so high quality. Props to Volvo for keeping so much good materials here. This vehicle is also spec'd with the bench seats, which if you do prefer captain's chairs, you can option for those for $600. The seats themselves are very comfortable. They offer a lot of adjustability. You can recline your seats and then adjust, slide forwards and backwards as well. The outer two passengers also get heated seats along with sunshades and also your own climate control here. As a bonus, you also get a built-in booster for this middle seat, which could really come in handy. So all these interior stuff feels very similar to the previous model, but surely they've changed something or added something on the inside, right? Yes, so this center console area is redesigned. There is now a wireless charger here, as well as a new infotainment screen. The ancient 8-inch screen is now gone. In place is a new 11.2-inch screen. More importantly, they've updated the software for this screen, which is now much better than before. The shortcuts buttons are laid out much better. There's much easier access to changing drive modes, and just the overall UI is a lot better. I don't think it's still as good as the software in the EX30, however, that has wireless CarPlay support. This doesn't. That one doesn't have any music connection issues because it has wireless Apple CarPlay, or I'm sure the SoC is much faster or the processor is faster. This one with Bluetooth music, my connection is just hit or miss. Could be just me, but that's my observations. The rest of the cabin is pretty much identical to the previous models, including this digital instrument cluster, which in my opinion isn't all that useful because you can only choose to display the map, the trip meter, or a blank screen. However, non-technology related features, on the other hand, this car is very well equipped. Steering wheel is heated, seats are heated, ventilated, has massage functions plus memory seats. In addition to that, you can also not only adjust your lumbar support, you can also adjust side bolstering and leg extension. There's also a head-up display, a crystal gear shift knob, as well as a beautiful sounding, incredible Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Starting off with Pure Mode, which is Volvo's version of fully electric driving. It's nice and quiet in here. Everything is very smooth. I wouldn't say that this EV mode is slow. It does get you around town no problem and even up to highway speeds, but it's definitely not quick. Acceleration is gradual, so you don't get any of those torquey electric shove you're used to in other EVs. And this car is rated for 53 kilometers of fully electric range, but I was able to actually manage a little more than that, about 56 kilometers with the AC cranking. It's been extremely hot the past week, so you should be able to also exceed the claimed range during summer times. One thing to note is that if you're driving in pure mode, it's rear-wheel drive only. So when the car detects any slippage, it will turn on the engine and power the front wheels. Next up, we've got hybrid power, which is where the car will automatically switch between electric power, gas power, or both, depending on the speed, depending on the state of charge, depending on the amount of throttle input. This is where the car will figure it out and do its own thing. On calm drives, the engine turns on and off basically imperceptibly. It's only when you step on it a little bit more where you notice the gas engine taking a second to turn on and then hence giving you power. Overall, this hybrid operation is very smooth. After that, we have power mode. In this mode, the engine will be kept on for better response, and of course you get rid of the delay of having to turn on the engine. You also see for the first time tachometer on your dash, which is nice to finally see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the dash showing your RPMs. The car will hold the gears a little longer and the throttle response is a little bit sharper. It might not look like it from the outside. This car looks very gentlemanly, but it's pretty quick. Especially off the line, it does shove me in the back of my seat. Even on highway speeds, it's pretty good. In addition to driving modes, you also get battery modes. You can choose between automatic, which will use the battery depending on what the car wants to do, and also battery hold mode and battery charge mode. Pretty self-explanatory here. Battery hold means that you can keep the battery and use it later. Battery charge, what I've noticed is that it's not all that efficient, so unless necessary, I would suggest to charge at home instead. In terms of fuel economy, this car, after the battery has been used up, is rated for 9.1 in the city and 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway. From my observations in the city, I'm getting around the rated figure, which is okay. And on the highway, actually, I was able to get better than that. I was able to manage a little under 8 liters per 100 kilometers, which also meant that at one point, this 71-liter tank was showing me 900 kilometers of gas-only driving range. Overall, fuel economy is pretty good for such a big car. This XC90 is equipped with the air suspension system, so let's talk about it. Obviously, it's nice to have a car with adjustable height, so it'll lower when you're getting in and out, makes that easier a little bit. And in off-road mode, it will raise, so you get extra ground clearance. But the actual on-road manner is a little underwhelming. It hasn't really lived up to my expectations. I feel a lot of vibrations and oscillations from the road imperfections. It's like it does a decent job on big bumps, but in small bumps, it's actually worse. There's a lot of vibrations. Now, I'm not testing this back to back with the standard spring setup, so I can't tell you exactly the differences, but from my recollection, although this feels a little softer in terms of spring rate, the vibration actually makes the ride quality overall a little worse than that. So I'm not sure if this optional extra is worth the money. As for safety tech, there really isn't anything new compared to the 2024 model, aside from the upgraded software for the 360 camera. It is a lot easier to use now. The on-screen buttons are better laid out, and it's easier to flip between different camera angles. Apart from that, you still get the standard stuff: emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, blind spot warning, things like that. I think Volvo, being a company that emphasizes so much on safety, could have implemented a little bit more or more updated active safety features for this XC90. Overall, this 2025.5 refresh, although is very minor, it does address the fact that the screen and the software was really outdated in that 2024 model. This new screen is bigger and the software is much better. The buttons are bigger, the UI is laid out better. It's just overall, user experience is an improvement. On the outside, it for the most part still looks the same, but I think the front end looks a little sharper, looks a little more updated, and on the inside, in terms of material use, it's still very good quality, so I have no complaints there. However, this XC90 is starting to feel fundamentally old because at the end of the day, it's a 10-year-old car. Now, I haven't tested the EX90 yet, but between this and the EX90, which one would you pick? Let me know down in the comments below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.